Well, from Mombasa to a topic that will be interesting to many of us, this year's World Environment Day will fall on the June 5th, 2020. This will mean the ban on all single-use plastic, also known as disposable plastic, will take effect on the same day, making it a singularly important day in Kenya's calendar. The ban affects the use of plastics in beaches, national parks, forests, and other conservation areas. Joining us right now in studio is Karin Boomsman, a director at Sustainable Inclusive Business, and we're also joined by Edith Alusa, beg your pardon, who is representing the Kenya Tourism Federation. Thank you, ladies, for making time this afternoon. And let me pick it up from you, Karin. Of course, a lot of expectation ahead of June, and from where you sit, have we made sufficient headways as a country in terms of handling this issue of the plastic ban?
I think we have to be very clear, thank you for having us, on which single-use plastic products are actually being banned. Because if you look around you in general, now today where you're watching,
yes,
a lot of it is plastic, like your shoes, the remote, everything. Then single-use plastic, if you pretend to walk through the supermarket, almost everything is packed in single-use plastic. You bring it home and you dispose it immediately. But the items that will be on the ban are the most problematic plastics, and not only because they're hard to recycle, but most of the time because those are the items we find in the litter. So that is accounts for 70% of our litter. So those are the items we're not responsible citizens with, and they will be banned. It's not completely clear yet which items are going to be on our list in Kenya. Therefore we have now time to prepare. And to answer your question, we have to raise a lot of awareness, what it means for you at home, yes, what it means for the tourists that come in, and what it means for the industry. How can we communicate well about it, and what are alternatives to the plastics we're currently using?
And let me pick up with Edith as well. Looking at the state of affairs, of course, our public beaches are the most notorious when it comes to all this littering and the aspects around plastic. As the Kenya Tourism Federation, how are you aligning yourself with such minded initiatives in terms of just trying to ensure that we are really addressing this issue?
Thank you. And just to pick it up from where Karin left off, one of the things that Kenya Tourism Federation is doing through our membership associations, because that's how it's constituted, is asking our members to make a pledge. So last year, a lot of the members in the hotels and catering industries made a pledge and said that they would stop using single-use plastic. Yeah. Now, it is a journey. So, because they cannot be in control of everything, because not everything comes from the hotels directly, but it comes from consumers that are coming to consume the product, which is tourism. And so one of the things that they're trying to do is to make their travelers more conscious. So all the membership associations are working from a point of awareness. What do we know? One of the things Karin said is that we don't know which plastic is going to be banned. So for us as KTF, we want to know exactly what plastic will be banned, so that we can inform, onward information. And that's the key thing. For us to have sustainable business, information is key. And then we can tell our members that this is the law, this is when it comes into force. We can negotiate with the government in terms of how we roll out the actual compliance with the regulation. But I think one of the things that has happened is that beach cleanups, and also for all facilities having beach frontage on the beach frontage for their facilities, are actually consciously trying to work to remove whatever is there. But you need to it needs to be very clear. It needs to be clear, because the government also has a responsibility as well.
All right. And Karin, what has been the response like, especially from other stakeholders like Kenya Association of Manufacturers, in just driving this whole narrative?
Yes, I think since we had the plastic bag ban, everyone is now ready to get ready and write an action plan, how to deal with other plastics and how to do our plastic waste management sustainably. And currently there's a new bill which has not been approved, and adopted yet, but a lot of the ingredients in that law, if it's going to be accepted, will be how to sustainably run the country on plastic waste management, and have actually incorporated a lot of circular economy elements, which we can explain later. Yes, the manufacturers, the Kenyan Association for Manufacturers, collectively, also with us being hosted by KEPSA, we are really looking into what do we need to do to get ready.
Yeah.
And the action plan is being written. It's being presented last December. And based on that, we're currently actually writing a business model for an extended producer responsibility. And that is one of the solutions to take care of your waste in a better way. So we're actually extending the responsibility of what we're using, and it remains a producer responsibility. And therefore, the producer will think, oh, is the quality of my product, is it recyclable? How do I get it back? How do I make sure it's not being littered? And also the quality of that product. Can I not make it last longer or a better quality for recycling?
All right.
So that's what we're currently working on. And together with the hospitality and tourism industry, we're starting a campaign around what are the alternatives, how can you deal with it, and what do you need to know to get ready in time. So we have a couple of months left.
All right. And Edith, so where does this leave the consumer? At the end of the day, they are also involved in all this that we're trying to achieve through proper use of plastics.
Right, so I think it starts at the very basic level of understanding and awareness, because once you understand the impact of what you're using, then you become a conscious consumer. And once you're a conscious consumer, it affects what you purchase, the places you fraternize, the decisions you make in terms of how you do your business. So one of the things that our members are actually working on, and it's a big mind shift, and it's a big business decision as well. It does cost money to make the shift, is what alternatives do we have to using straws, to using disposable cutlery, when we go out for game drives and all that, and for using plastic bottles for individuals. There are all these alternatives that are there. But what is the cost? How long can I take to phase it out? And what kind of support am I getting from the government in order to implement this? And so for the consumer, and in this case, they'll be consuming a tourism product, they'll become a conscious consumer. And you tell them, we have these products and we don't have single-use plastic, and because we are trying to deal with a worldwide problem. It's a fantastically huge problem that we're dealing with. But the hotels need to be, I still go back to the fact that we still need to have a very strong public-private partnership to tackle this issue.
And Karin, of course, all this presents a lot to be at stake, especially for the manufacturers who are in these lines of business. What do they stand to lose eventually, now that there's the global agenda is shifting at a very fast pace? And like Edith says, the business case is very compelling. On one hand, we are trying to eradicate plastic use. On the other hand, we have an entire ecosystem where we have people likely to lose jobs. The alternatives, investing in the alternatives might be a bit costlier for some of the manufacturers. How do we strike a balance?
Yeah, we have to work together, all of us, to actually strike that balance, I think, in these kind of cases. Because if the demand is going to be, I want a refillable coffee cup, or I bring my own coffee cup to a coffee house and I get a discount on my product, then the business will respond to that. Okay. I think, yes, there's time, and if you're not adapting, then, and you're not innovating, yes, you can have a lot at stake. However, it's not overnight decision, so we need to get prepared. That's also why the Kenyan Association for Manufacturers, together with KEPSA, that you get prepared to not lose jobs. I think, to be honest, let's face it, if you're running a business, you always have to be innovative, and you always have to try and stay ahead of the game, and you need to not just ignore what's going around in the world and hoping for the best and that your business will last. I think it's also, if you are open, it creates a massive amount of opportunities at the same time, because you can see a demand coming and things are on the rise, and especially when we pick it up collectively.
All right.
But we are addicted to a very easy lifestyle and to plastics that support that. And we need to get our head around that it's not necessary. It's for a couple of items, it's not necessary. You can live without it. We have survived the plastic back then. So there are items that we didn't deal with it in a correct way and we don't really need them.
All right. Thank you so much, ladies. Such a very engaging discussion, and of course we look forward to still interacting even beyond the studios, even on our social media platforms, as we continue to drive towards this agenda. Well, I've been speaking there to Karin Boomsman and Edith Bosire, joining us just to unpack some of the key issues that have been coming up for discussion for single-use